Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Rebecca. This is Pounds to Miles, and I just wanted to start this off by first of all saying thank you. Like, what the heck, guys? And to you. So we went from 31 subscribers to 336 in about 2 or 3 weeks. So that's crazy. Thank you so much to everyone that takes the time to watch my videos. I'm very grateful from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Let's get into the video. If you don't know me, I lost 100 pounds in 11 months, and then I went on to lose 115 in total. I did this naturally. I did this without surgery. I did this without doing an extreme diet. So I do have my own business now as a weight loss coach, where I basically make meal plans for other women. I give them mindset training, and I do all kinds of different programs and services that will help them have the same type of transformation that I did in a way that actually works. I will talk about that a little bit later, but just to preface, I am gonna film a full story time of my 115-pound weight loss journey. If you haven't already, click subscribe, turn on the notifications, and like this video if you want to see more story times from me. This is not easy for me to talk about, but I know that there are a lot of you that watch my videos that are also trying to lose weight, and if I can share my journey and it's helpful to you, then it's worth it to me. So before we talk about the weight loss, I first want to talk about how I gained so much weight that I needed to lose 115 pounds. So at the end of middle school, this is grade 8, I was kind of chubby, but you know what? I didn't realize back then that it was just normal. You know what? When you're growing up, your body is changing. I was gonna get taller, so the weight would have been distributed differently. It's just a part of life. You're not gonna have the body that you want to have when you're an adult when you are in middle school. That's not possible. I did not know that. This summer, going into grade 9, I was unhappy and I wanted to lose weight. I honestly don't even remember what I did, but I did eat less than I was eating before. And I lost like a decent amount of weight to the point where I was over 100 pounds at the end of grade 8, and then going into grade 9, I was like 99 pounds, which is, yeah. It was not healthy, and I was told I was not at a healthy weight for my body and for my height by doctors. So that wasn't good. But basically, I had gained the weight in a really unhealthy way back because the food was something that became a source of comfort for me, and I over the years would go to it when there's stuff that was stressing me out with school. I would just eat, and the emotional eating just got to be consuming. So it was really hard to break out of that cycle. Even though I really wanted to lose weight, I just couldn't. People were very concerned about me, and I felt a lot of pressure to gain it quickly. So what I started doing was I would just binge on junk to try to get my weight up. So this kind of spiraled out of control, and throughout the course of high school, I would just be really unhappy with my body because I couldn't stop putting weight on. And every year that went by, I just felt so guilty and I felt so upset with myself. And I got into university, and first year went by, and I think midway through first year, I was at over 200 pounds. And then in second year, I continued gaining. Third year, I continued gaining. And spring of 2021, I was 265 pounds. And COVID had happened, so I was just kind of in the house. I moved back home from school. I was just eating more, and I wasn't leaving. I also needed new clothes because my clothes weren't fitting me anymore, right? But I was just I was in denial, and I couldn't accept my new size. I couldn't accept my new appearance, so I wouldn't even buy new clothes for myself. And I was just walking around the house wearing rags basically all the time. And I was actually enrolled for a few summer courses, and these summer courses were 6-week intensive courses. So they were it was biochemistry and it was organic chemistry, and I was gonna take them all at the same time. It was super stressful because the courses were so much work over a short amount of time, so that I'd be able to get it all done to get the credits, because I wanted to have those going into my 4th year, because I was taking all these prerequisites for pre-dental or pre-med. So yeah, that was like what I was working on, but school was really a huge stressor in my life at the time. And I had gotten to a breaking point where I was like, I am just so upset. Like, I don't know how I got here. I don't know how I woke up one day and I'm 5'3" or 5'2", 5'3"-ish, I don't really know, and 265 pounds. My stepmom had my baby sister in February of 2021. So by June 2021, she wanted to lose the baby weight. You know, she sensed how upset I was, and we had a discussion, and we just said, you know what, let's do this together. I decided, you know what, I'm going to drop these courses for the summer. I still had courses I was going to be taking in the fall. I could take those later and then kind of put off graduating for 1 year and take a 5th year so that I would still have time to get those prerequisites done and then get those other courses. But even though I'd be taking the 5th year, I would have that summer off, and this was the first summer I ever had off where I wasn't in school. So I was like, this could be my chance to just get myself into a routine, and then, you know, I'll be so much better off for the fall, even though I might be behind. So I ended up doing that, and now I'm gonna get into how I lost the weight. So what I did to lose the weight was I started looking into healthier versions of recipes that I liked having. So like, let's say my favorite food was a casserole. Okay, I know it's really weird, but one of my favorite comfort foods is tuna noodle casserole. So what I would do was I would look up recipes that had like a little bit of substitutions in them, so I could still have the flavor I really liked and the taste and the comfort food that I liked, but it wasn't as like fattening. And I would kind of manage, I stopped tracking calories, I stopped looking at those things, but I would kind of manage like balancing each meal throughout my day and then setting rules. So like every 3 to 4 hours, I would have my 3 meals. So I'd have breakfast when I woke up, 3 or 4 hours later, I would have lunch, and then 3 or 4 hours later I have dinner. I would always make sure I was having like fruit with each meal, and I wasn't restricting myself with fruits or vegetables either. So if I was hungry throughout the day, I'd have those snacks. I would have fruit and veggies. I would have like a set day where I would meal prep all of my meals for that week based off of those recipes. So I would either search for those recipes, and then once I got the hang of cooking, I would start like developing my own. So I would make these meal plans and then I would meal prep them. And I just got into that routine. So that was working for me. What I did also mentally was I was journaling and I was manifesting. And I know this sounds like, okay, Rebecca, what are you talking about? Like, we want to lose weight. Like, what are you talking about with this journaling business? But no, seriously, like writing down what my goals were for the day, like my intentions, writing down my to-do lists, like getting my stuff ready for school, like all of those things gave me a sense of control over my schedule. And all of a sudden, like I stopped concentrating on losing the weight and I started concentrating on like, let's get your life together. That was working really well. So I lost 15 pounds. I was feeling really good. I was feeling like I was getting a little bit obsessed. And I decided, okay, I need to find some kind of hobby because I wasn't like going on walks. I wasn't really doing anything. I didn't feel good enough to leave the house. So like, I need to find some kind of physical activity that's gonna be a hobby. I don't wanna do it to lose weight, but I wanna do it to just kind of take my mind off of it and still work towards my goal of like my health and fitness, but not in a way where I'm gonna feel like I'm obsessing over weighing myself and like a number. I just wanted to just have that not be an obsession, and I wanted to have something new to focus my energy on that I could control, right? Because obviously I could control cooking and doing those things, meal prepping, but I wasn't able to control how fast the weight was coming off. I decided, you know what, a race would be good because I'm so competitive. And when I say race, I mean like a virtual 5K, because it was still during like the COVID-y time, so there weren't so many in-person races happening, but there was like a virtual one up. You pick a day that you want to go run, and you run and you track it on an app, and then you submit your results and you get a little certificate after. So I found one of those, and it was going to be happening end of August. This is the first week of August that I had looked for it. I had signed up for it, and then I just like really quickly looked like 3-week couch to 5K running plan or something like that. And I remember the first run I ever took, it was outside and it was really, really, really hard. I didn't have the right running shoes for sure. Like, they were not good quality running shoes. They didn't fit properly. So that was one reason. The other reason was like I was just so out of shape, and then like the amount of excess weight that I had and I was carrying, it made it very hard on my muscles to run. And I had like this burning sensation in my calves. I remember so vividly. It was so excruciating just to take one step. I didn't think I was going to be able to keep going, and I kept saying to myself, run a few more seconds and then, you know, you could walk the rest of the way home. There was something in my head that was like convincing me, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And eventually the pain, it didn't stop, but I was able to just kind of ignore it. And I pushed myself and I ran all the way home. And then from that day onward, I was kind of obsessed with running. I loved the challenge, and I kept going. I followed every single day of my training plan, and I made it to the 5K, and then I ran the 5K. As I was training for that 5K, I was watching all these videos on YouTube actually with ultra runners, marathon runners, and they were vlogging their marathons, their ultras, and I was so unbelievably inspired. Like, I can't even tell you. It was really getting me hyped up. And I said to myself, Rebecca, listen, if you can do a 5K and you can push yourself, then that's not going to be a challenge for you anymore. You're going to need to try something new. And I had this crazy idea. I'm going to try for a marathon. After this 5K, I'm going to start training. And I did the 5K, and I had so many people telling me, Rebecca, like, it's too soon. You can't train for this. Like, you just started running. Like, people take years, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I was like, okay, well, I can either listen to them and take their advice, and maybe like I won't experience failure, or I can just say, you know what, I'm gonna try it anyway, I don't really care. And I decided to go with option number 2, and we're off to the races. I was doing all my training, I was getting it done, I was doing my meal prep, and I was finding that I was losing around 10 pounds a month, which was, you know, crazy. It never felt like I was on a diet. That is the key. From August to like mid-September, I had lost another 10 pounds, and then I moved into my apartment for university back in Waterloo because my classes were starting back up in the fall. I met my roommates, and I kept running. I was doing my courses, and I was doing my meal prep still. It wasn't easy doing meal prep at that time because I had all my classes, I was running, I was busy. It doesn't matter. You need to make time for this. So I kept going. I was becoming more independent. I bought some new clothes, so I was feeling a little bit better. And then I just continued losing weight, and I ran the marathon, and it was like the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. It was so painful after 21 kilometers because I didn't have enough time to train as much as I could have leading up to it. So the biggest distance I had done before the marathon was 25 kilometers. And that was all I was prepared for. Once I had passed 25 kilometers, like every single kilometer was so unbelievably painful. My legs were so sore. I was crying. And I made it. I passed the finish line. It took me 6.5 hours, but it was the greatest moment of my life because I did have people telling me I wasn't going to be able to do it. I defied everyone else's expectations. I defied my own, and it was incredible. So I had lost 100 pounds, and I was preparing to go back to school in October to finish those remaining courses. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on this trip with my friends. And we were going to go to Greece for 2 weeks in the summer. And it was an unbelievable trip. I learned so much, and I came back a different person. You can ask anybody in my family. That person was me. And there were also things with like friends where, you know, not everyone in my life was happy for me that I was at this new place. I had to deal with those types of things. There were other things like, this is the first time that I was getting attention from guys. I was kind of used to being like ignored and overlooked. And it's not something where I was like so fixated on before, where I was like, I need a boyfriend, I need someone to find me pretty. But I did feel like really left out being that friend that, you know, always liked guys and then no one liked me back, and all my friends were in relationships. So I did feel a little bit left out. And once I had my new body, I was like, oh, like, you know, I'm gonna start dating, I'm gonna get on the apps. And it was just, you know what, like, no one prepares you for like what the attention does to you, what like spending all your time getting ready to go on these dates is gonna do. And then obviously I'm still single, so nothing worked out from then. And I continued dating throughout that year where I was in school, and nothing has worked out. I'm still kind of learning. There is a lot to learn in terms of like, you know, going on dates, what to expect, and all these things, all the dynamics. The reason I'm bringing that up is because it was just a crazy like learning experience for me that summer. It was just where I was experiencing all the things I had missed out on, you know, in high school and in university, where, you know, I wasn't socializing, I wasn't going out, and then all of a sudden I started clubbing, I started going on all these dates, I started buying new clothes, like I changed my hair, and then throughout the next part of that year where I went back to school, I continued losing weight, but it was more focused on like maintenance and just kind of adjusting. I wasn't losing weight as quickly, where, you know, I had lost 100 pounds in 11 months, but the remaining 15 pounds, that took me like months, because it was kind of up and down. It wasn't because I was completely like stopping. I wasn't like dedicating myself to it in the same way that I had been before, because I had already reached a good milestone for me. So then once I had lost the weight, in that final year of school, there were a lot of people that would come up to me and be like, okay, how did you do it? Like, I'm in a similar place. Like, I also want to achieve those results. Can you help me? And I realized like the way that I was able to do it and accomplish my goals and making those meal plans for myself, like figuring out what foods, developing recipes, you know, the intentions, the journaling, that is something that's unique, something I wish I had access to. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start a business. And that's when I started Fit Fairy Consulting. The story behind that, I wanted to be like a fairy godmother to my clients. I wanted people to come to me and I would be able to be that person in their corner, helping them reach their goals, telling them what to do, and then helping them have this magical transformation like I had, and guiding them through that like a fairy godmother would. The rest is kind of history. So that's what I do. If you are interested, I do have a free 1-week meal plan with my recipes. I'm gonna put a link in the description so you can go ahead and download that. It's completely free. So excited for us to be on this journey together. Thank you for being here. Stick around.